Welcome to another episode of ShePrints Africa, part of the Women in Print 2025 vodcast series. Today, we explore legacy, not just written or printed, but crafted. Our guest is a woman whose hands create heritage, a luxury jewelry designer, business leader, and founder of Patshima Jewellery Designs. Please welcome Nondando Molefe to the show. We're honored to have you.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Listen, jewelry design, jewelry making, a diamonds is a girl's best spray. So I'm trying to know, how did you go into jewelry design and jewelry making?
Sure, it's something that I actually fell in love with from a very early age. So when I was in grade 10, I found out that there was a school called the National School of the Arts that offered jewelry designing as one of their extra subjects over and above the normal standard subjects, science, maths, biology, and everything.
And that is what we go into actually. Like, it's usually just your science, lawyer, and we never think about going to jewelry design.
Yes. And already I had an interest in jewelry. So I used to look at magazines and just page through it and ask myself, how in the world is this stuff made? And looking back, I was actually even intrigued from even an early age. I went on when I was, I think in the standard 3 or something, I've actually pierced my own ears because I wanted to wear jewelry so much. I didn't have pierced ears. So looking back, I think jewelry is just something that I've always somehow back in my head had an interest in. Yeah. So and then when I found out that National School of the Arts offers jewelry design and manufacturing as an entry, as one of their side art subjects, I started there and fell more in love with it. I went on, after matriculating, I went on to study jewelry designing and manufacturing, and I got my degree at the University of Johannesburg, and the love for it has never stopped since.
Amazing.
Yes.
So tell me, in jewelry designing, how do you tell stories about culture, about identity, about power within actual designing?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me personally, I seek and I get interest from and inspiration from each client because everybody is completely different. So I absolutely love getting inspiration from each person depending on what their interests are. And when it comes to the collection for the jewelry, I'm inspired by ornate patterns, African texture and textiles. Yeah, so I draw a bit of that into my collection.
So when we think about African, we always think about like patterns, but do we ever think about luxury?
Yeah.
Like, so what does luxury or African luxury mean to you? And how do you express that in your designs?
For me, African luxury is really just expressing the beauty of the gemstones. I mean, a lot of the gold and platinum and diamonds are originally from Africa. So for me, expressing their beauty and adding a bit of touch of Africa using either its shapes or geometric shapes or culture. So I've got this collection called the actual African Lux collection.
Lux collection.
Yes, and that collection
we are aligned.
With that collection, we've mixed gemstones as well as African textiles in the designs, but making it look very luxurious and high end.
Amazing. So that's how you mix it together. So you're mixing like modern luxury as well as like a balance of African heritage, right? And then where do you draw inspiration from besides African or your clients giving you briefs? Like, where does your inspiration come from? Does it come from, you tell me actually.
Yeah, I also draw inspiration from gemstones. So for example, this ring that I'm wearing, it's from my Trillion collection. And this was mainly inspired by the Trillion cut. It looks like an angel. Some people say it looks like an owl. Some people say it looks like a bow. Oh. But for me, I was really just inspired by the actual shape of the gemstones, and I was playing around with them. And I really love the Trillion cut, which is this cut with the 3 sides.
Yeah.
So it's called Trillion cut because it's got 3 sides. And the pear cut always resonates with me because it's one of the main features of our logo. And I just love the cuts. The pear cut is my favorite diamond cut. So for the Trillion collection, I was really mainly inspired by the gemstones. So when it comes to the collection, sometimes the pieces are inspired by different cuts and shapes and kane.
Because that is amazing. When we think about printing, we always think about two-dimensional pieces or writing. But we never really engage about printing as a form of jewelry design.
Yeah.
Or even 3D printing.
Yes.
So what are some of the techniques that you probably have developed that could, that are more efficient? You'd let me know, what are some of the techniques that you use?
So one of the main techniques that I use is 3D designing. So we work with a design program called Rhino. So I use Rhino 6. So the Rhino program, you basically design the jewelry piece from scratch based on the actual exact measurements that are required for the actual piece. Let's say we're making an engagement ring. So it has to be to the exact finger size of the client, the exact size of the gemstone. And for me, that's been a huge game changer in the jewelry manufacturing industry, because before we used to hand make the pieces, and that takes long.
Yeah.
And it takes very long. And sometimes the pieces, when you make them by hand, they don't come out as perfect. So with the 3D designing, it allows you to create much more intricate designs, and you can create really almost anything. Whereas when you manufacture some things by hand, you are a bit limited when it comes to the different shapes and styles. So from the Rhino 3D designing, from there, the design, in terms of the design process, it then goes on to the 3D printing. So the 3D printing, it's like a photocopy machine. So it prints the design exactly as
you wanted, yeah.
Yes, exactly as it has been designed, yeah, to scale, to size. And then from there, we use a lost wax process, where we basically cast the jewelry piece, and then we pour molten metal into the cast, and the jewelry piece comes out exactly as it's been designed on the Rhino program.
Wow. So things are much more efficient.
Yes, so much more efficient.
As you said, back then you used to basically manual.
Yes. And it's also great for duplicating designs. So let's say you have to make 100 pieces of the same design. That makes it also much easier. So when you have to do that, after you've made the master model and it's been cast, you then do a rubber mold. So a rubber mold creates like a negative impression. And we do also a wax loss process for that, but it allows you to make hundreds of the same design without losing its policy, without losing the actual, design.
Amazing. I am so sad that you didn't bring me an owl-shaped ring. I feel like I need one. So please, I am going to order one. You see, it's from Patshima Jewellery Design.
Yes, Patshima Jewellery Designs. It's also available on our website.
Yes, and the name is actually Setswana, right?
Yes.
Or Shine.
Yes.
It's so funny because our station manager is French, right? Yes. So this whole time he's been saying Fatima. And I'm just like, but I can't find her on the internet. And I can't find her. And then eventually I see, and I'm like, Patshima. Oh, there it is.
Yes. Oh dear. I'm actually used to it. So people mispronounce it. So yeah,
it was actually like, it happened this morning. It's quite funny. So as a businesswoman, so you're not just a designer, you're also dealing with, the aspect of your industry.
Yes.
In your industry, it's very male dominated, and from my research.
Yes.
From the actual mining part to the delivery part, the logistics part, to the designing part, as well as the distribution part, is that there is very little women in the industry. How did you first go into it knowing, and was it ever difficult? Were you ever were you accepted, or let me know what's your story is like.
Oh, it has not been easy, and it was difficult, but the negative things I try to ignore.
What are they?
I really try to ignore. So there is very high barriers of entry when it comes to the jewelry industry, especially when you're new. When I started, I was young. So everyone was just like, who is this girl? So you have to prove yourself. And the best way to prove yourself is to remain compliant. You have to build relationships with the different suppliers, the gold suppliers, the gemstone suppliers. And with time, my relationships with them, they got to know me, and it got better. But you also have to apply at companies such as the SADPMR. The SADPMR is the metal regulator, where you basically have to apply to have the certificates and permission to use the gold. So in terms of applying for that, it's a lot that they require. They require quite a lot.
Okay, because I'm just also thinking that, a lot of our gemstones and gold and minerals are taken internationally and then designed there and then brought back. So that process, has that been a challenge to you? Do you have more of a competitive advantage being an African jewelry maker?
No.
Is
It
it?
actually has made it very difficult.
And it's more
because
expensive.
No, so besides that, yes, I guess it's commonly known that South Africa or Africa, our main problem really is labor. Our labor cost is somehow much higher compared to the other countries like China and Italy. So with me, I've noticed that the big brands who have the actual power and ability to buy from a small jewelry manufacturer, they prefer to go and buy in China and Italy, and it's still like that till today. Most of the main big brands that are famous, that everybody knows, most of them, they actually
Ship their stuff from
they
China.
ship their stuff from China, and it's mainly because they find it cheaper to buy the products there. And for me, my argument when it comes to that is when you come into a store as a client, if you like a jewelry piece, you buy it. Doesn't matter how much it costs, So for me, I don't think that it is fair for them to discredit a lot of the manufacturers locally based on the price and the cost of price, because in South Africa, the workmanship of jewelry is so much better, actually, compared to international.
Okay, so what I understand is that in Africa, it's actually is it more expensive because they actually take the minerals, they ship them internationally, and then they come back with the designs, but they become more cheaper. How does that work?
Yeah, so the whole world knows that Africa is so rich with minerals, but our minerals are mainly shipped, internationally, and it's actually very sad, And for us, I think the main thing is really just the cost of labor. And what I've realized is also that a lot of the main big brands who have the power to actually buy from the local manufacturers, they prefer to buy in countries such as China and Italy, and they buy the jewelry already made and bring it here. And for me, I don't think that it's very good to do that, and it's not really adding any value to our economy. In terms of price, when you walk into a retail store,
Yes.
and you're a client, when you see a jewelry piece that you like that is made in Africa, it doesn't matter what the price is, you will buy it. So for me, the price point, I think they should really stop using that excuse, because that's the excuse that we get most of the time, that no, they don't buy from the local manufacturers because our prices are a bit more compared to China. But the prices, the jewelry that is manufactured in Africa is of so much good quality. It's very strong. In terms of the gemstones, the careful care is taken into sourcing each gemstone, So in terms of the quality, I really would honestly say it is much better than we offer.
And I mean, we have not in just South Africa, but in Africa as a whole, we have so many different minerals and textures and just a different craftsmanship that is just so different from what it is that we see when we go into a normal retail store or an international retail store. What do you think would then be the way forward in order to develop, if you were to tell an institution or an organization or a board of people that would end up helping you, such as Printing SA or Women in Print, because what we do is really to honor designers and printers and people within this industry so that they can continue with their craftsmanship and so that they can build economies. What can you tell bodies, or what advice can you tell bodies so that we can go forward as an economy?
For me, I would honestly advise that they start prioritizing the items and products that are mainly manufactured in our country. When you travel around the world in different countries, they actually, let's say you go to Paris, for example, most of the pieces and items are made only in Paris, literally throughout everything is made in Paris. So I really wish that we could imply the same here in Africa, not just South Africa. For Africa, so many
made
things
in Africa,
just made in Africa for everything, and they can do that by limiting the amount of products, especially when they know that there are jewelry manufacturers in South Africa and there's a lot of them. So they should really then minimize the amount of jewelry that is imported into the country.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your insights. We see powerful shifts in industries. And, when we grow up, it's always, no, I'm going to be a lawyer. No, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm not looking down on those industries. But I think I'm really proud of the fact that there are women, especially, that are shaping African luxury, that are shaping cultural expression, that are taking this not just as a job, but you actually are doing it as a movement. I think this is more of a movement than it is anything. Because now we're trying to move from us just being craftsmanship, but we're moving it to luxury. As your store is a luxury platform, a luxury store. That's all right. So I truly appreciate your insights in that. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about anything, so maybe some of the challenges or any advice that you would give a young jewelry maker?
So with me, the main challenge that I have come across, which is still even a challenge now, is access to market. And it's mainly because of with the whole barriers of entry in the industry, and most of the big retailers who prefer to work with other international brands instead of the local brands. And also when it comes to growing the business, the funding companies don't even know much about the jewelry industry, So most of the time when you approach companies like Cedar or IDC, they're not the consultants that you get when you're trying to apply. They're not very clued up. So I've tried to apply a few times, and my as good as the business is and as profitable as it is, and they can see that, because they don't understand it, they would rather basically not help, or I've gotten like the most weirdest and lamest excuses, actually.
What are they? What are those excuses?
I mean, this year I applied at Cedar and got quite far. We're still waiting we applied for machinery. So I want to grow my manufacturing workshop so that we are able to employ more people and get more machines that allow us to even compete even better internationally, globally, in terms of the quality. We're still waiting for that.
Well, you would think with our employment rates that they would grant you that access. However, still nothing.
Still nothing. And SIFA, they told me that the business is not famous enough. So I don't know what that means. So yeah.